Should Steph go into takeover mode, shoot first mode tonight, Jay Will? What do you think?
I mean, look, I think Steph needs to be as aggressive as possible. I think this team is going to play with a sense of urgency. I'm curious to see what wrinkles that Steve Kerr is going to bring to the table defensively. The inflection point of this game is going to be when you start. If this game is close towards the end of the third quarter, do the Lakers decide to go all in to try to close this thing out? Because I do recognize the fact that the last two games, the minutes that LeBron and AD have logged, like, is that in the best? Is that in their best interest long term as you try to win this series, right? Or does it make sense to, if the game is somewhat right there within reach, go for it, or say, hey, look, if it's not in reach, we're going to pull our foot off the gas a little bit to get ready to go back home for Game 6. But I think tonight you're going to see a prolific Steph. I think you're going to see a prolific Klay Thompson. The bigger question I have is if you're going to see Jordan Poole feel as comfortable as Jordan Poole needs to be, because I really do think they're going to need his confidence when it matters the most. Like, every team has X factors. And I think the one other guy besides Steph that can do dynamic stuff off the dribble in a pick and roll is Jordan Poole. So whatever gets his confidence level up to that point, they're going to need to find an answer for that.
To your point, I think Steph has to be aggressive, of course. I don't necessarily think he has to go into shoot first mode. And I love the adjustment that they've made against this Lakers defense by putting the ball in his hands. And we said this after Game 1. They were running a lot of their chase action and their DHO action with two non-shooters on the floor. And so the adjustment they've made is to go smaller, not really play Looney and Green together, and put the ball in Steph's hands. What does that mean? Well, it means he's going to get shots, of course, but it also means everybody else is going to get the shots they normally get when they run their off-ball movement action, right? You think about the other night, Peyton getting layups, Draymond Green getting layups, Andrew Wiggins back cutting out of the corner off a Peyton feed because Steph Curry was running pick and rolls, DiVincenzo in the corner. You think about this, too. Steph Curry missed two wide-open layups off pick and roll in that first half, right? So his shooting numbers weren't great. They could have been a little better if he made those layups, which he normally makes. He's been a fantastic finisher. To me, it's you stick with the game plan from Game 4, which is you run pick and rolls, try to involve Anthony Davis as much as possible in those pick and rolls, which they went away from in the second half when he switched on to Wiggins. And that's the formula to get them back in the game. Of course, you're going to need contributions from Jordan Poole. Of course, you're going to need more from Klay Thompson. But it starts with having the ball in Steph Curry's hands.
Yeah, look, first, it's all hands on deck in this one. We put so much in the stars' laps in this league and say, well, Steph and Klay have to do this. No, it's all hands on deck. You're going to need Draymond Green to chip in with probably double-digit points and just feel his force defensively the entire game. Wiggins has been good. He might need to be better than good. You're going to need maybe a Dante DiVincenzo to give you 15, right, in a spot you didn't expect. Moody maybe hit a couple of timely threes. And obviously Klay Thompson. So everybody chip in. But here's the thing with Steph. Yes, they put the ball in his hands more after Game 1. We saw that's what they had to do the way he was being defended. You're going to have to create some space for him. But when are the Warriors at their best? It's when Steph Curry is drawing to and there's an overreaction to him. That now the ball gets swung and then those guys go play 4-on-3, 3-on-2 on the weak side. And that's when the Warriors, right, that's Warrior brand of basketball. That's when they're at their best. When Steph Curry has the ball and the Lakers aren't really reacting to him as a scorer as much because he's getting double-digit assists, direct assists, you're not overreacting to him as much. That's why I think Steph Curry needs to come out and hunt early. I think he needs to force the Lakers to understand and set the tone for his team that your best player's here and he's in rhythm. And this is my mindset. Now, think about it. He took how many shots in the 38 shots?
38 shots.
In Game 7. Now, I understand that's not the same defensive team. I get it. So he could get to those spots easier against Sacramento. I get it.
Finish at the hoop easier, too.
Yep.
That's probably the biggest thing between that series and this series.
But he walked in the door that day knowing when that ball went up in the air, first possession, I'm going and I'm hunting right away, because I think it just sends a great message to his team. It also forces the Lakers to react in a way that right now they're not being forced to, that maybe loosens things up for some other guys to get cleaner looks, particularly Klay early in the game, because he's the guy, to me, is stifled right now. And we all know that's a difference maker. If that dude finds it and they win a game, man, does it feel different with the Warriors going into L.A. for a Game 6 if Klay Thompson has, a 30-point game and they win Game 5.
What's the most assists Steph has averaged in his career? Around 8, right?
Probably,
eight and a half,
My takeaway from Game 4, could you imagine if Steph Curry was a high-volume pick-and-roll player with a rim runner?
A natural point
with a
guard,
rim runner.
right. Right.
which he hasn't
What would his
had
numbers
during any of this stretch in his
Makes
career.
you think about how they move forward, doesn't it? Makes you think about how they move forward.
The
Potentially.
transition.
Exactly.
To the
Potentially,
next
Jay, I gotta
phase.
say, potentially.
Yeah,
the series ain't over.
potentially.
The series ain't
Well, it's
over.
regardless whether they win or not. Potentially.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, unfortunately, Stephen A. is busy right now tweeting at me, so it's time for my list of the top 5 title threats. And of course, this is probably the most fluid list of all because we're still in the middle of the second round. But here you go. Number 5, the Phoenix Suns, down 3-2 to the Nuggets, still have a chance to win. It's going to require a Herculean performance from Devin Booker and Kevin Durant to get past the Denver Nuggets and win the next 2 games. Number 4, the Boston Celtics coming in. This has been a very interesting team all playoffs long. They've looked great at times. They've looked confusing at other times. The favorites after the Milwaukee Bucks left the playoffs, and now they're sitting down 3-2 to the Philadelphia 76ers, and this is where it gets a little confusing. You know, this is where I'm like, who do I go with at number 3? But I'm going the Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers up 3-1 against the Warriors, a chance to advance to the Western Conference Finals. LeBron, AD, Austin Reeves, all coming up big for them. Number 2, the Philadelphia 76ers. They have shown so much in this series against the Celtics. Embiid has been dominant as of late. James Harden's play, the role players. This team is as complete as anyone in basketball. And number 1, the team that I think has played the best of anyone in the playoffs, the Denver Nuggets. Sitting up 3-2 against the Phoenix Suns. The domination of Nikola Jokic, the 2-man action with Jamal Murray, the defense of Aaron Gordon, the bench contribution of Bruce Brown. This team is poised for its first championship in their history.
This is fluid. I understand that. A couple things stand out to me right away. The first is no Golden State Warriors in there at all. So you're dismissing their chances entirely.
Dismissing them entirely?
I'm pulling a Stephen A. on you right now.
I should have prefaced it.
I'm going to try to corner you. I'm going to pin you in a corner.
This list is in no offense to the Miami Heat.
Okay, yeah, the Heat also.
Or the Golden State Warriors. But again, it's very fluid.
Right.
It's very fluid.
I don't
They
hate
didn't
the
make the
teams
cut.
on this.
They didn't make the cut.
No, they did not. They didn't make
Five
the cut.
slots,
Only 5.
5 slots, they're not up there.
You left 3 out. Okay, we know who those 3 are. Surprised more probably about the Heat even than the Warriors on this list. There is one place I disagree with you. I totally agree. They have to be first right now. They've got the cleanest sheet. That's been the most consistently high-level basketball on both ends of the floor of any team in the league. I think I would put the Lakers second because if the Lakers escape this series, I think they win the Western Conference. I actually think the Lakers have a better chance of beating Philadelphia. Potentially, that's why I would probably put them second. I think the winner of that series, if it ended up being Lakers-Nuggets, I think that's the team that's going to be the front runner to win the title. Overall, solid. It's interesting. No Heat, as good as they've been. I understand. I think their path's a little bit easier, maybe, and that plays into it. And no Warriors.
But
that had to be hard for you.
We could do this after tonight.
We could have made a
and
top
the
8
list
that
would be
everybody
different.
makes it.
But
Right.
I just want to point something out. You're saying if you have the Lakers 2, you're saying right now you think whoever wins the Western Conference is going to win the NBA championship.
Yeah, I do right now. That's how I feel. I think.
Okay.
How about you?
I'm very high on the
still
76ers
think-
right now.
You think Philadelphia would beat the Lakers
And a
in the
lot of it
finals?
is the point you brought up in the A block, which was essentially Embiid has never had a supporting cast play this well in the playoffs. And consistently with Harden and Maxey, Tobias Harris giving contributions. To me, they have a team full of guys that are starring in their roles right now. And then you have the big fella to just dominate everything else.
I just think if there's one team defensively that has the speed and the length to play Philly with what you have to do with Harden and Embiid, it would be the Lakers.
Yeah, I just want you to know Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler are watching.
Oh, no
and they took this personally.
Okay, yeah, he gives them no shot, by the way.
No shot. Not even top 5.
I did not say that.
Well, I mean, they're the dynasty. Golden State. It's very disrespectful. I mean,
Down
Not even in
3-1.
to use
We
our
just
analogy,
wanna mess with
podcast,
you.
they're not even in the deli. They haven't even made it.
what's
into
your
the
what's
deli.
your story on Miami?
They haven't ordered anything yet.
What's your story on
What's
Miami?
my story in Miami?
Yeah.
My story in Miami is they've had an easier path. Giannis out 3 games.
Yeah.
The Knicks look out of sorts right now.
Yeah.
0 shooting whatsoever.
Okay.
I like whoever wins the 76ers or Celtics series. I like them more than the Heat.
Okay.
It's going to be a great series regardless.
And one last point.
Yeah.
So what he's really saying by this is he believes that the Celtics have a better chance to come back and win this series than the Suns do against.
All right, we got 10 seconds. I got to hit the top of the hour. What's his grade?
Oh, that's-
a solid C?
No, that's a solid A minus.
A minus.
That's a solid A minus.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.